Huh. What up? It's us again with another video. We're back after so many weeks. Welcome to the BYC podcast.
Has been.
Nice. Continue.
We're here today with another episode. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe and hit that like button as it helps us with this algorithm. We got usual. I'm Kevin. We got Joey. We got Jerry. And we're happy that you're here with us. We hope that this video finds it very comforting for you and very knowledgeable. We got a quite particular title today. I don't even know what we're going to title it, but I know that it's very relevant to today's generation and the previous generation and probably the previous generation as well. What are we talking about today, guys?
Skibidi brain rat.
Koalas.
Ohio. What was the one you just said?
Some good lore.
Phantom Text.
Phantom text. Are we talking about?
Joey's getting old.
Well, what? Jerry just turned. It was his birthday, guys.
Yeah.
Clap for comment happy birthday for Jerry.
Expired.
For real.
Nah, but I don't know. So we're talking about this because I know I'm not saying what we're talking about yet, but I'm just explaining. So I teach the teens in our church. Jerry's a youth pastor. Kevin's a youth leader. And I've noticed, like, I would ask the question, you know, maybe I'm driving one of them home, they needed a ride, or I'm just talking to them, and I'm like, what's like your dream job? You know, what's your passion? Or like, I don't know, like, what do you want to be if you could choose, like, when you grow up? Or I guess some of them are almost grown up, but you get the point. And I realize a lot of them don't know what to tell me. They don't have an answer. They don't have any answer. And I just found it really weird. They don't have any sort of passion or dream. Some of them don't even really, like, I'm like, oh, what's your favorite music? And they're like, I don't know. Like, they don't really care about music. You know, I don't know. It's just, I found it so odd. I find it so, not alarming, but I don't know.
Did you have an answer at 14, 15?
Yeah, I had an answer at 10. I had an answer every stage of life. I mean, it changed. Obviously, when you're a kid, you have, like, random dream jobs. But then, you know, you get maybe middle school, you're like, oh, I want to be a rapper. Or I want to be a producer. Or I want to be an artist.
JG low-key wanted to be a rapper. I ain't going front with you.
No. I wanted to produce. I don't know. I guess I wanted to do. I guess I wanted to be a producer. Yeah. You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I did want to be a rapper. I just didn't want to admit it. But I like to make beats and all that, so I definitely wanted to do something along that.
I mean, he did rap this one time in a Sunday service for his mom. It was hilarious.
Let's not bring that up.
Do we have? Man, he got lucky. He got lucky. We didn't do lives or we didn't do any of that.
What?
I think I have a recording.
What?
But
we're never showing that,
bro. Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. And then when I was 18, I wanted to be a boxer. And I still have dreams, you know. I still, like, if one, I have hopes. Like, I haven't given up on them completely, but, like, you know, I hope to maybe be able to do music at some point, or I'm still going to the boxing gym. You know, I don't know what's gonna happen there, but if I get the chance, I would take it. You know, or I don't know,
be a minister of
open my own business or something. But I don't know. These kids, I've noticed a lot of them don't know. They just play video games. And
I don't think it's only the kids. I think you hit a sense of reality once you get out of high school as well. I feel like public school makes it all like games and fun, and it's like, what do you want to be? You can be whatever you want. And no, if you're 5'4", you can't be a basketball player. You cannot play.
You know what? I did want to be in the NBA. I did want to be in the NBA.
Right. So yeah, I know you were pretty bummed.
Hey man, I had a good 3-point shot, but
I know
that was about it.
He wanted to be the next.
But as you can tell, we're talking about a lack of motivation in the young generations that are coming.
Not only young, because I feel like it's on the, like, you have a generation that you deal with that, you know, it's growing up trying to make sense of life, who they are, but then you have that other generation that's already out of high school, has a taste of the world, and some of them have a bitter taste, unfortunately, and they completely give up and they just live a routine. Because I remember I met with somebody like a while back, like it was a while back. I think it was before COVID, if I'm not mistaken. Was it before? Yeah, it was before COVID. And I'd asked that person, and I knew him for a long time. He wasn't Christian, but he knows of God, and I knew him. And I kind of asked him, like, "Hey, what are you up to?" And he's like, "Working." I'm like, "Oh, what are you aiming for?" He's like, "Nothing." He's like, I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "You don't plan on growing or seeking another career or moving forward in your job?" He's like, "No, I'm fine." I'm like, dang. I'm like, whatever happened to opening your own shop? And it's like, it's just not gonna happen. I'm just like, man. So there's people that, because I guess of this mentality that, oh, Jimmy, you can be whoever you want to be. You want to be an astronaut? Okay, great. Be an astronaut. You want to be a football player? Yeah, go ahead. Let's send you to football, classes or sports or whatever, right? Or practices. And then we get out of high school and then we hit reality. We gotta work a 9 to 5. You can't have your dream car. You can't have that Subaru. You can't have that Supra. You can't have that Skylander. You can't have any of that. Why? Because it costs money and nobody gives you money. So then you're stuck at Burger King. You're stuck at McDonald's. You're stuck at Subway, or I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that, right? You got to start somewhere. But then you end up realizing that it's not as easy as it seems, right? You got those ads in YouTube. You want to become a millionaire in 3 days? You want to earn $20,000 in a week? Do this, do that. And you actually jump on that. And it ends up, all you got to do is pay $100 a week. They end up getting the bet and you end up getting nothing. But I think it's something that it's reality. People hit reality and they give up. But Generation Z, I think it's Gen Z. I think it's Gen Z. I think is one of the most that is getting hit. So when does Gen Z fall? What's the year?
So me and Kevin are Gen Z. He's 98. I'm 01. So technically it started in 97, from what I read. So we're early Gen Zers. But there's also kids that are like 13 who are still also Gen Z. That's like the limit was, what was it?
2012.
12. That's the range. So most teens are still Gen Z. Actually, I think all teens right now are Gen Zers. But also you got young adults there. You got 13. Yeah, that's a teen. Although they're transitioning from preteens. So it's a diverse group, but I mean, I don't. Are we all the same? Like,
nah, I think the way
I don't use the same slang.
No, I think the way technology is moving now, the way the culture is moving now, it's just changing way too fast.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't grow up online. Like, I didn't have a computer.
You saw MySpace?
No, I saw MySpace. Yeah, but I didn't have a computer until like, I don't know, 2007.
Okay,
and
can I say something?
And it was a fat computer.
I don't know if you count though, because you didn't even let you play basketball.
Yeah, no. I mean, computer had no internet.
Yeah.
They had no internet. They had Word doc.
Internet was from the devil.
They had Word doc and pinball. That's it.
Were your parents strict with that? With like technology or no?
No, not really. Okay. I mean, most of the tech that we had, it was all really old and really basic, but it's because we were poor. We didn't have much. My dad was the only income. And we really didn't need anything. Like the most that we would get new was probably new cassettes, new VHS back in the old VCR.
Yeah, so you saw VCR.
Yo, I had some VHS tapes and all.
So now you're considered old to this younger generation.
Yep.
They call me old. The teens call me old, bro. They call me old. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about?
There was a survey done in 2024. You want to talk about that?
So the survey, is that the one with the businesses?
Yeah. So 75% of business leaders.
Yeah. A lot of businesses, 79% apparently, find that some or all Gen Z employees unsatisfactory. Meaning, I guess they don't do a good job. They're just not good workers. Because of stuff like lack of motivation, which is a big one, poor communication skills, and lack of professionalism. I saw another one that it was like more than third or something, more than somewhere around there, like 40%, 30% of businesses say it's significantly harder to motivate Gen Z workers to do, like, to motivate them to do better, like good work, than it is for other generations. Like, it's just harder to motivate us or something. Jerry's a millennial, by the way. He's apparently not included in this for some reason, but he's not that millennial. He's only like, what, 3 years separated?
It's like a year. 2.
So what's going on with the mental health of the young generations?
COVID-19, I think, had maybe a major thing to do with it. Could have. Being isolated for so long. I mean, I think that affected Gen Z a lot, just because it was a huge change. It isolated everybody, but in particular, like, you are still on a grind. Like, you're still trying to figure out. For the teens, you're in a critical stage where you need social connection. You need to socialize with other people. You need to be actively talking to other people, and then instead of doing that, you get the opposite. You get isolated, and you only get put at home. Not only that, some people, their escape is school. Some of those teens, right? Because their house might not be the best. So I'm pretty sure that had a lot to do with, like, the lack of motivation now. That time period where they had no other option than to stay home and do homeschooling, basically. I mean, who wants to do school on computers?
A Chromebook, even worse.
Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, I felt, so I'm not gonna lie, my unemployment checks were busting during COVID, bro. So I was happy, but
I didn't understand why you was getting more money than the other people were getting. Yeah, that job was crazy.
500 boost or something.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was making bread, not working though. That's all I know. I was happy. But apart from that, I mean, I was okay. But I do remember everybody expecting it to be like, oh, it's just gonna be like a week or two, and then it was like months, and everybody was like kind of caught off guard, and I guess we had to turn to the internet, right? We had to turn to social media more than we already have.
Mm-hmm.
We had to turn to, I don't know, like video game friends more and stuff. And honestly, I don't feel like online relationships are the same as in person.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's just never the same. And I'm not gonna. I don't know if we just all started being like online people for some reason or not, but I do think a lot of people kind of, I guess maybe because of the pandemic, they just switched to being more introverted or being much more comfortable making online relationships than just physical in-person ones.
Yeah.
And I do think that affects our social skills. I think it affects our self-confidence, probably.
For sure.
And I think that would correlate to like motivation, desire, work ethic and all that stuff. So yeah, I think you have a point there. Probably.
You have the other side too, where you got put aside whether or not you were essential. So if you were essential, we need you, make the extra effort. If you're not essential, then goodbye. I'm sorry, you don't have a job.
I had to work.
So
I had to work no matter what. Yep. Yeah, I was considered essential.
A mechanic.
A mechanic?
I mean, no, in that time I wasn't a mechanic though. In that time I was selling heavy duty truck parts.
Essential.
But, yeah.
For the commercial.
But in the during COVID, at least from my experience, the only difference that I experienced was that I played more video games.
Yeah.
And that's because my group of friends that I talk to or that I hang out with, most of them were online because they weren't working. So they were online more, so we played more. That was it. But I still talk to them outside, you know. I still hang out with them. I still see them. And that really didn't change. The only thing that changed was just that aspect. You know, that was our core memory of COVID. The fact that we played more. And it's okay, I guess, if you played more video games in that time, or if you use social media in that time, that's okay. What's not okay is when you didn't have a good social life before that, and then during COVID you relied more on the screen, and then after COVID nothing really changed and you still stayed like that. And then what really sucked was for those that were in high school and graduated during that time.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say, me personally, I was in college already when COVID started, so I didn't. My high school years were not affected, but my brother had to graduate via video or something like that. Like, it was like a video graduation. There was no actual graduation, and it kind of, I was like, dang, man, that kind of sucks. You don't get to that feeling, that event of a big, moment in your life.
Yeah, that I feel like contributed to a lot of the reason why so many people became antisocial. Like, I know a lot of young folks 2004, 2005, and they're very antisocial. They don't talk to nobody. You could tell them, like, hey, you can talk to your coworkers and, get to know them and whatnot. They're like, no, I just want to go to work and get out. And then talking about work, a lot of them don't find any motivation because they think about these corporations and all the companies. They think so thorough about them, and then they compare that corporation to them, and they're like, man, I really don't mean nothing to this company no matter what. It's just a paycheck, so who cares? So maybe that's why managers and some bosses find it really hard for some young employees to find motivation to do things. And I think they need to give a pathway to them. Give them a reason. Give them a reason to feel motivated. Even if it's like a McDonald's or a Burger King, you can tell them, like, this is temporary. You could just be straight up. Don't sugarcoat it, because I think we're beyond the era of sugarcoating, where you can tell them you could become a manager one day and make $65,000. Like, but yet again, that's a dead end job. That's a McDonald's. Just be honest with them. Tell them, like, hey,
bro, Panda Express, bro.
Just come to work, do what you have to do. Just work and you get paid, and then after this, you can pursue the career you want to pursue. You can go to college if you want. You can further your education if you want. Like, I think they just need to be real with them. At least for me, when I became a mechanic, when I officially became a mechanic, they told me this is a career. So even if you get paid low, just know that it's a career. So it's gonna progress. It's gonna get better. The more you get better, the more you earn. So it's really up to you how much money you're gonna make. So that's what gave me the inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to get good at it, and I'm going to do the best that I can. And then one day I'm going to be able to make $100,000 a year. I don't know, if it's the will of the Lord. But Gen Z, it just has come to that idea. And I know so many that have that mentality. They're like, man, I just don't want to go to work and just work there and then know that this is my life. Like, no, this is just a paycheck. I really don't care. My real life is outside of work. And they have that mentality. But if you have that mentality and you have no plan outside of work, then you're doing nothing. You're upset for no reason, and you're being unmotivated for no reason. The only one that's stopping you is your mind.
But it becomes tricky, right? If you don't have God in your life, if you don't have any sense of purpose, identity, right? The weekends might become your identity. The weekends might become your purpose, right? You work Monday through Friday just so that you can enjoy a beer or, I don't know, some joint, yeah, or a party, or go out and all this. And now you're living on a cycle, and you continue to do that. And you continue in the blink of an eye, fam. You're going to be 45. In the blink of an eye, you're going to be 45, and you're going to be the same person living on that same cycle, trying to relive a moment, trying to stay young. And I think that's a waste of life. I think that's a waste of time. We are created by the image of God, and God gave breath to us that gives us value. And I think Pastor was talking like a few Sundays ago how much is a bag of dirt worth, right? Because we were made out of dirt. And then what gave us value was the breath of God. And what gives you value, what gives you a sense of purpose, is knowing who your creator is. Once you know who your creator is, then you strive for higher things, and you strive for I don't know, for your dreams, for your goals. You strive higher because you know that God is able to open doors that you're not able to open. In the same way, like in my personal life, I mean, I think COVID for me was a time of facing fears, because I was at a point where everybody was like, don't buy a house, don't spend your money, save your money. And I was at that point where I'm like, okay, I need to buy a house, but I don't know if I'm gonna have a job tomorrow. So what did I have to do? I had to rely on my father, my provider, and I had to stick to my faith rather than stick to the news and to the fear that we were getting fed. Fam, because the fear was real, bro. I'm not even gonna lie, man. I started coughing. I started feeling headaches. My chest started feeling tight. And it was all mental, bro. I went to take the test, negative. I'm like, all right, I'm playing. This thing is playing with my mind. But one thing that COVID showed us is how strong your mind is. How strong your mind can be, to the point where you start experiencing symptoms when you don't really have them. I don't know if it happened to you, but I started experiencing symptoms when I didn't even have them.
No, I got it, actually.
I mean, I ended up getting it too, but at one point, like, I would cough or I would have a headache, and then I would be like, oh my God, I got COVID.
No, I did have some family members that would freak out like that.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then you have like the Lysol everywhere and all of this and the gloves and the mask. But anyways, for me, it was a time of facing fears. That's what it was during COVID, even in ministry, like what's going to happen to the ministry? Am I going to lose connection with people? And actually, I think it was one of the times where we connected the most. I think online in our ministry, we're there motivating one another, making videos, sending it to one another, and so on. So there was this up and down, right? But I strongly believe that if you don't have a core of who you are in the sight of God, you're going to end up wasting your life. And here's what you need to understand. It doesn't take much for the devil to do that. It only takes a thought for you to adopt, and that thought becomes a pattern of thinking, and that pattern of thinking becomes a pattern of habits, and that habits becomes a lifestyle. And once you're in a cycle, and that cycle is reinforced by that thought, nothing can break it. It has to be something supernatural, or it has to be something very strong in your life that breaks that cycle. And in the blink of an eye, you end up wasting your life. And guess who's gonna claim you at the end of the day? The enemy. It's not that hard for him. He doesn't even have to send demons. We do all the work sometimes with our mind, with letting thoughts lingering around in our mindset. But I think that's something that we should consider. Like, do you know who you are in the sight of God? What does the Bible say about motivation, or what do you guys think? Like, can we find motivation towards this? Like, if I'm feeling like I have no purpose, I'm living a cycle, I don't want to wake up to go to work.
That first verse hits me the most, and I find it really hard to live by. But it's true. Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men. That's day to day. That's something hard to live by, because there's some people out there that, man, they don't deserve your service. They don't deserve your best. They don't deserve you to do it wholeheartedly. But God is saying, do it as if you're doing it for me. And there was actually a time during COVID that it was like 4 or 5 months of building a prayer life, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a building a prayer life. I was in contact with this evangelist in Virginia. His name is Joel, actually. And I would call him, right? I would call him continuously, because I would ask him like, man, I don't know what to pray. Like, what can I pray? Well, what should I do? And he would be like, oh, pray for this, pray for my ministry, pray for all the other ministers, pray for pastors. And then after a while, I'm gonna say the power of the Holy Spirit. It just I would pray for things, just, whatever came to my mind, I would just pray, and it would be a full long prayer. And then there was a time where I was like, you know what? Let me start praying for my own character, because I feel like I'm being a little too prideful, not praying for myself, for things that I need to align better with the Lord. So I started praying for that. And this verse was one of the verses that I read in that time. And it hit me hard, because it was like a thought in my heart that said, yeah, so at that time I would sell heavy duty truck parts, right? So one of the things that I would sell was hydraulic hoses. I would build hydraulic hoses. So that thought came to me. Every time you make a hydraulic hose, make it with such care and such detail as if you're building it for me. So I started doing that. I started caring about every single thing that flew out of my store. Everything I sold, everything I gave, every part, every invoice, every receipt, I just made sure that it was up to par how it's supposed to be. And in my mind and in my heart, I was just like, Lord, I do it as service for you. You know, if you see it as something good, if you see it as something that you could cherish, that you could love, I do it for you. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest, those were the months that I actually sold the most, the months that I gave it my all, and I gave it with that attitude. Even though, man, I had some really bad customers that just would do anything or say anything to just bring you down. I had this one guy that heard the worship music, and he was like, yeah, we're all going to hell. It doesn't even matter. And I was like, what is that coming from? Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's like, who do you believe in? I'm like, I believe in Jesus. He's like, you ain't enough for Jesus. None of us are. We're all going to hell. I'm like, no, my sins are forgiven. No, they're not. Like, I'm just like, well, I hope one day you encounter the love of the Lord, and he takes away that bitterness. But yeah, I encountered things like that, and I had some other experiences. But those few months that I seriously gave it my all, those were the months that I experienced more provision and more growth in my business. And I call it my business, even though it wasn't my store officially, but I was running that store, and I made the numbers, and I made the profit, and my paychecks depended on whatever I sold. But that's a really hard verse to live by. And especially as a young person, it's hard because when you go to school and you got to do that essay, and you got to take those tests, and you got to do those projects, and you got to put some emphasis in your work. It's hard to think about it and say, I'm going to do it as if I'm doing it for the Lord, because you don't really want to do it. You really don't want to do the essay. You really don't want to do the project. But if you do it for the Lord, you'll find care, because that's the Lord. That's God. And everything that we do for God, you should do with all your heart, because it's love, it's worship, it's praise to Him. And there's another verse in the Bible as well where it talks about everything you do and everything you say, everything you act on, God sees and God will judge. And everybody points that as it's going to be bad, as in He's going to judge you, He's going to put some type of sentence on it. But on the other hand, I see it as He's going to see it and He will reward you accordingly. Not, it's not necessarily a bad consequences or a bad reward, but if depending on what you've done and how good you've done it, He's going to reward you. I think He's a God of justice. So I believe that if you've done something so good, so wholeheartedly, and you put care in it, you put detail in it, and you did it with everything in you, I'm pretty sure God is going to see that. He's going to reward it in some way. He's a God of justice. Like, come on. And if you apply that to everything in your life, to career or your job or what you want to do or just how you live as a person, I think God sees that with gracious eyes.
Amen, man. I think it becomes a little bit tough because we are people that want to see immediate rewards, immediate gratification, immediate applause, immediate recognition. I think maybe that's where some of these issues are coming from. The fact that like you're being given a sense of responsibility at your job or in life, and nobody recognizes you. Nobody cheers for you sometimes. We all want like that immediate response, and it's not gonna happen, right? In life, things don't happen from day to night. Like most good things take time to build.
Yeah, no, that was good. I think Kevin, you nailed it pretty well. I was gonna say you brought it up that a lot of Gen Zers don't want to work and stuff, and that verse kind of hits pretty hard for that. And it's understandable, like you want to work-life balance. That is a thing in America where a lot of Americans, the biggest thing in our lives is our work, our career. That's what gives us purpose. Right, that's what gives a lot of Americans purpose. Like, I have this fancy job title, or I'm manager at this job and I've been here for 20 years and I have a respectable position, or I make this much money. And in a lot of other countries, that is not. I'll say like it's not as normal. Like it's not as normal to ask, what do you do for work? Because it's like, what does it matter? It's just work. Like it's not part of who I am. I guess right. There's a distinction, but at the same time, the Bible does tell us to not be lazy. Basically, don't be a bum.
Yep.
And actually do your work well. Put a quality effort forward. And sure, like I feel that too. Like I've never felt like, I've invested like my identity, my person into this job. Like I've never felt that way. But at the same time, you always have to check yourself, and I have to check myself sometimes too. Like, I can't just like completely like not care about this. Right? The Bible tells me to care, even if I don't want to care. Right? And the Bible pushes us. It does. It pushes us to do our best in whatever situation.
Yeah.
And I just want y'all to dream. Just keep dreaming, bro. There's nothing wrong with dreaming. Just dream.
Dream on.
Dream. Just
dream on.
I know that people say be realistic, but your dream doesn't have to be realistic. Just be realistic about your expectation of the dream. Like, okay, I probably won't reach this, but like, I can still dream,
Yeah, or or dream and set realistic goals to achieve
set a
to
goal
get there.
for like a career and all that, and then still have your dream. Maybe on the side you work towards it.
Yeah,
it's always there, but you don't have to ditch it. Just dream.
This is our dream right here.
Just be for real. We're still working. See, we're still here.
Talking about lazy, I just go to your Bible app and just write the word on the search, lazy, and see how many verses come up. Let me just read you one. Proverbs 13:4 says, "The soul of a lazy man desires and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich." So the lazy person is always desiring more. If they can only increase my pay, if they can only recognize me, if they can only give me this opportunity so that I can show them how it's done, if they can put me on the game, it's always desiring. If only I can trade places with this person, if only they would have chosen me instead of that person. The lazy person is always desiring, and they don't want to put in the work. They don't want to put in the work. And what people don't realize is like the simple things, like even like having a stable income and I don't know, having a healthy mindset and so on. It takes work. It doesn't come from day to night. It takes the desire to better yourself, right? Because I could be, I don't know, going up late, staying up late, right? Some of you, I'm Hichuhara, sorry. Some of you question why you don't feel motivated, but then you're going to sleep at 2 a.m., 1 a.m. in the morning. And then you expect to have a great day the next day. It's not going to happen. Why? Because you only live enough 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep, and you're going to tackle a whole day grumpy. You're playing yourself, fam. But you're always trying to desire things that they're out of your reach. And you're going to continue doing that until you realize that the laziness has gotten a hold of you. Part of that keep dreaming, what kills dreams, I would say, is laziness. But anyways, guys.
Good point.
It's been great, man. I can go off and on about this.
This is supposed to be a shorter video, and we're at like 40 deep. 35, 40 minutes.
So we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Pray for Gen Z. Pray for all these younger generation. Anybody who's lazy, pray for them. If you know somebody, you probably do.
If you know a lazy person,
pray for yourself. You probably the lazy one that you
know. If you know a lazy person, send this video to him.
I'm praying for. I'm not saying I'm not gonna say Kevin because this man we working like 16 hours every day. Nah, pray for each other, guys. Let us know what y'all want next.
Dream on.
Comment. Sharkboy and Lava Girl.
Oh dream.
Dream.
Just dream.
Oh my god.
Dream, bro. Imagination.
Use your imagination.
Yes.
And then make sure those dreams, right, get aligned with your purpose as well. If you really want them. If you really want to achieve those dreams. Realistic goals. And make sure it aligns with purpose. All right.
Hey, man. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you give this video a like. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that bell so you can get a notification for every single video that we upload. Check out our Patreon and check us out on Instagram and on TikTok. But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Yeah.